to Zack Snyder's Justice League trailer. This is a bit tougher because we both admitted yesterday that we've only watched the Josh Whedon version. What is it they call that? The Justice League, they call that one, wasn't it?
I call it a Frankenstein's monster.
Or a big pile of you-know-what.
Pile of shit.
We both only saw that once back in 2017 in the cinema, John. Very let down by it.
Yeah.
When we watched this trailer reaction, or when we watched the trailer and we did the reaction yesterday, I did find myself, is this new? I don't know how much of it was new, because it was just sort of, it was almost like the Mandela effect with me, that I was convinced myself that I'd seen bits of this before, but
there was definitely some new stuff in there, for sure.
The cape scene, I've seen that, the sort of holographic, that's in the film, isn't it? When Bruce Wayne's looking at the holograph of Superman, I'm sure that's in. I've seen that. But we'll not get into...
Darkseid's not in it, though.
Well, that's the first thing we want to talk about, John.
Very first shot.
It's it's his debut. And again, the visuals for this, I think that's what we should talk about first about this, because I noticed that sort of opening shot, it was giving you the landscape of the sort of ruined area.
That may be the very last shot of the movie, Stephen, because there was rumours.
How good did it look?
It looked okay, it looked pretty damn good. Reminiscent of Thanos. Difficult to tell where we actually are, and obviously production, post-production, it's all post-production really, where we are with the CG and whatnot, but that may be the very last shot of the movie, because Zack Snyder actually says that in his version, they decapitate Steppenwolf, and I think his head goes through one of these wormholes to land at the feet of Darkseid, and he kind of and he kind of he looks very angry at the end of the movie, and that sets up a sort of conflict with Darkseid as the big bad in a trilogy of Justice League movies. That could be the last shot of the movie, Stephen, and it looks... Now,
I am to believe Darkseid did not appear in the Whedon version at all. No.
Absolutely disgraceful.
It's crazy.
Shows you how far detached the Warner Brother execs were, and how far detached they were from the Zack Snyder vision of the Justice League. That's why it failed. Yeah. Even you like him or hate him, the man had a clear vision for these movies, and you have to follow that vision through. And then if he sorts out his personal issues, obviously his daughter passing away and whatnot, and he's able to come back, then you have a template. You make it easier for him to maybe hone it into his own vision later on. Now you've just made his life impossible, nearly. As we've seen from this trailer, he seems to have accomplished the impossible, seemingly, with the amount of things that he's changed.
I think as well, John, that one of the things that I'm looking forward to the most is obviously Cyborg's contribution in this film as well. His relationship with, I believe it's his father, played by Joe Morton. I think it is. I may be wrong. And obviously his connection to the mother boxes as well. His connection to Steppenwolf, isn't it? Because you can see in the redesign of Steppenwolf, the technology is there. And his armour, just the sheer look of him as well. So
that is his father.
That connection, John, that just talking about Joe Morton in that scene as well, that was a bit of a spoiler, was it not?
I think the whole thing is a spoiler though, Stephen, but I mean, in a sense, we kind of, people who should know will know all about this, and people who don't, perhaps, I presume watching the movie, it will have gave something away. I mean, it's been that long since I've seen it, as I did say, but they did, maybe not, they kind of just shafted Cyborg in the whole movie. He was just a minor player.
We did not get enough of him.
No, he was a minor player.
And he's such an interesting character, but again, when you're excluding villains like Darkseid from the entire movie, you get where they were going with that direction, John. But
it was just focused on Steppenwolf.
We also get shots of Diana. She's I think she's visiting a temple or something like that.
Yeah, the Amazon temple.
The Amazon temple. Yeah. You're also getting the classic Aquaman shot. Getting shirtless, bottle of Jack Daniels in one hand. And then you get glimpses of Victor's his career in football, American football as we call it. So there's little shots like that. Barry Allen was probably the best shot, the one in the street with
that was superb.
The girl. I thought that was superb, John, the way that was shot. Again, you mentioned that funny run, that kind of way he kind of darts.
Later on in the trailer, he's got that ridiculous sort of flailing arms. There's a footballer that plays here, Stephen James Forrest. He's got a very similar running
It's
stance.
like Iron Man, try to land.
Like running like that.
And finally, John, we get to see Superman's black suit. Now, it's probably on 2 seconds or something like that we get to see.
He's done some job, Stephen. He's not actually...
Considering that's not an actual suit.
Yeah, no, it's not a black suit. He's recoloured it. And he's worked absolute magic because it looks as though it is a black suit. I don't know how he's accomplished that. Really, really cool. Stephen, I'll go back to Victor very briefly because, Zack Snyder says in the panel, he's the heart and soul of this, his version of the movie.
Yeah.
And you can really see that from this trailer. He's front and centre. His father passes away in front of him. He sacrifices himself in this mother box by the looks of it.
Yeah.
Or to the mother box. And you see that his playing career, they're delving into what this guy was before he became Cyborg, and he's going to be front and centre, the heart and soul. I don't know how they will accomplish this. Maybe they had just tons and tons of deleted scenes that they just left in the cutting room floor.
Yeah. But I also think they were setting up a standalone film for him as well at that point, John.
Yeah, well, that'd be very cool.
Yeah.
Because he was probably the only one out
Whether or
with
not
Flash.
that happened now, I don't know.
I hope we do.
Yeah.
Whether they do go ahead with it, with the whole sort of going after Josh Whedon thing. Well, if Josh Whedon was in the wrong, then it shouldn't have any bearing at all on his ability to come back and play the character. And certainly if Zack Snyder is back in any way whatsoever and he can work harmoniously with a J.J. Abrams behind the scenes of Warner Brothers working on DC related stuff, then I'm sure he will absolutely get this guy back. He seems to really have a relationship with him. The actor himself has a good relationship with Zack, and him making him front and centre of his version of the movie, I think that speaks volumes on what he thinks of that guy's acting ability with all these big figures around about, Ezra Miller, Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot. Speaks volumes on the respect he has for him. So I really enjoyed that sort of change in tone for the Cyborg character more than anything in this trailer.
Yeah.
And also the Superman stuff as well, as you says, the black suit, seeing him hovering above the buildings. Sort of changing his
It's also
reanimation.
a bit at the start of the trailer as well, where it looks like he's in a lot of pain. There's a lot of lightning bolts and stuff like that around him. But the other bit, John, as well, the Barry Allen bit, obviously, this has actually been confirmed. It's Iris West, who's now officially in the DCU. I think it's Kiersey Clemens. She was originally cast as Barry Allen's love interest, but her scenes were ultimately cut when Josh Whedon took over reshoots. Now, she's a big part, obviously, the Flash arc. I didn't realise that was her till I read this article, actually. I've been obviously following the television series, and she is a major part in obviously that. So it kind of shows what was Whedon's thinking, with all these cuts. Was it the studio were determined this was going to be a 2-hour film, and he had to make these sacrifices? Well,
Stephen, I'm talking about he's worked miracles, but he said himself he's got about 4 or 5 hours worth of footage to work with. It was a 2-hour movie, give or take a few. So they were clearly meddling, interfering all over the place, making cuts for the sake of making cuts for tonal changes, just to maybe make it a more tauter experience so the audience could perhaps connect. And it's had a complete opposite effect. The audience couldn't connect because it was all over the place. You could clearly see what Zack Snyder had done and what Josh Whedon had done. And it was discombobulated and all over the place, a shambles. And now they're finally righting the wrong by allowing the man to come back and complete his vision. And you can see it, man. He's adding in Iris West. He's adding in more backstory to Cyborg. Flash looks as though he's going to have more to do other than just be the butt of the jokes, having a laugh about, oh, look at this, I'm just in the middle of all of this with all these big superhero figures. I don't really belong here, I'm a joke. Ha ha ha. Now we're getting to see Ezra Miller flex his acting muscles in this movie. I'm excited. I used to be kind of on the fence for the Zack Snyder cut. Haven't seen this though. I'm excited by what he's accomplishing and what is going to be possible moving forward for this movie. Maybe this could set up a new sort of take on the DCEU, working with Flashpoint and changing some things.
I think how it's received, John, will be the sort of telling of where they go next. But we're going to Smallville next, and it's a shot of Clark in the field. Yeah. Now, this was in the trailer. Now, I don't remember certain angles and certain appearances because, as I recall, I might be wrong, I think only Lois Lane was in that scene, but Martha Kent is with Lois in the homestead, the farm, and both of them obviously are reunited with Henry Cavill's Clark as well. It was a nice shot, But it was obviously it's a different take on what we did see from the theatrical cut.
Stephen, it's also adding emotional levity to that character, because in the Josh Whedon version, he just reanimates, wrecks the living shit out of them all, and then they sort of just get back to it and they take on Steppenwolf. There's not much focusing on him being back. Not that I can recall of. I think he did get back though, didn't he? In the actual movie, I'm sure it did, because as you says, it was in the trailer.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that.
Yep.
But they seem to be focusing more on the emotional side of all of these characters. They really do. We see it with Batman, he's overlooking Cyborg when he's digging the grave. So it looks as though it's going to have more heart to it. And that's necessary. You need to connect with these characters if you're going to go on the journey with them. And with them not having the standalone movies, it's so much more important that you sort of delve into it a little bit more. This could have been a 3.5 hour movie, 3 hour movie.
Yeah.
But obviously the studio would never have greenlit that. But for it to have been a success, I feel like 3 hours minimum it needed.
Steppenwolf 2.0, John. Well, we're going to move on to next. Sheer look of this character now. Change your mind on him be the choice of the villain for the Justice League, the first ever Justice League cinematic, film. The look of him now. I think you'd maybe have to get comparison up to really see what they've done, unless you've got it etched in your mind how bad he looked at, in that cinematic.
I'm just trying to. Is it Kieran Hines who played him? Kieran Hines is a fantastic actor, man. He really is a great actor. And it just ruined that character. To put him in the first shot of the movie as well, there's just no suspense, build up of this villainous character's reveal. Like we had with Thanos over the course of 11 years or something. They slowly drip fed him. Then when he stepped on the screen, you were like, Jesus Christ, he's here. They gave him away in the first scene of the movie, pretty much, when he went to Themyscira to try and get the mother box, and it was terrible. Just everything about the character, the CG was unfinished, the movie, Stephen. This cannot possibly be worse than the movie that was released. At least they'll have time to finish and put a nice extra bit of gloss on the animation and whatnot. Yeah. He looks much better. He's got that connection with Cyborg. Cyborg, front and centre of this story. Again, it's going to play into his father, him, Steppenwolf. Everything looks better for the character. Hopefully Kieran Hines has some more meatier scenes as well, because it was such a disappointment. On a par with the Cara Delevingne sort of villain, the Enchantress from Suicide Squad. Terrible villain, man. Terrible.
And John, we'll just round this up with the sort of team meeting, we'll call this one, with obviously Bruce. I can't remember what the line was. It was quite a good line though.
They've not faced. He must have killed thousands of people or something, I think Flash says, or Barry Allen, and he says, but they've not. He's not faced us, not all of us together. Yeah. Paraphrasing slightly. I think that really was stunning music, great line delivery from Ben Affleck. You expect that from that man. He's just a brilliant actor. And it just, again, it's almost like the moment in Endgame when they're all together and they're going to face Thanos. Bit of a letdown because it's at the start of the movie and it means nothing. But it's still sort of stirring. And it's really cool, man, to see these guys together. So just kind of round this up, John. You kind of just mentioned it a couple of minutes ago there in regards to your sort of point of view on the Snyder Cut. When it first was announced, there was this petition going on. I think we were both sort of feeling the same way. Just leave it, move on. The DC's moving off in a good area now, a different direction with Joker, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Shazam. They've moved on. Batman. They seem to be getting their act together, or as you like to say, their shit together. And we both felt that way, but the last 3-4 months, Zack Snyder's been very vocal on social media. He's been giving us little clues on the vision. He's been giving us little clues on the direction and the tone of the film, how much footage, as you mentioned, actually exists, lots of stuff that wasn't included in the theatrical run. All of these reveals has changed my mind. Has it changed your mind as well? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as I says, I was on the fence initially. Now I'm well on the Zack Snyder, the Snyder Cut sort of bus. I'm in there, and seeing the people who were sort of fueling it, the girl from China who started it from the very beginning of this Snyder Cut movement, the guy from America who sort of pushed for it, man, I'm glad for them as well. They are getting to see this come into fruition, and just seeing the happiness from Zack Snyder, the sort of the emotion that he is, get this backing from the fan base. They are so enamoured with what he did with Dawn of Justice probably as well, that they want to see his take on this story again. And look, I mean, everything's coming together nicely. I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I just hope they can give us a short little theatrical release or something, because we've not got HBO Max over here.
No.
And it'd feel a little bit, I don't know, of a letdown if it was on Sky.
I would say so.
Sky Atlantic,
Yeah.
that'd be terrible.
I think we might get that, John. It depends on, obviously, the state of the world at that point and its release, but I think it might get some kind of run at the theatres. But we'll move on now